Hello all, welcome back to Career with Vasanth YouTube channel, previously known as Uncommon Geeks. My name is Vasanth. I hope you all doing well. As this is a video series where we are doing a lot of mock interview. With me, I have Faizan today. He's from Delhi. So more about Faizan, as you know, he'll be telling you guys. But how this interview is gonna be, I'm gonna explain. Like most of the videos, I'm gonna start with a simple system design or like scenario-driven sort of a question, followed by some basics of JavaScript and React. Finally, we end the video by a quick machine coding question. Okay, that's how the interview is gonna be. If for some reason Faizan is not able to answer some questions, I'm going to answer that at the end of the video. If he answers all the question well, then probably I will not be doing. So I also don't know will there be a post video or not. That depends on how Faizan would perform. Okay. Please watch the video till the end so that you'll get benefited. Yeah, Faizan, if you can introduce yourself, we can get started.
Yeah, so my name is Faizan. I'm from Delhi. I'm working as in 86 agency. So it's a service-based startup as a senior front-end engineer.
Good.
Uh, and I have around 2 years of experience.
Good, Faizan. So you have overall 2 years of experience, and where the 2 years of experience lies into Faizan?
So it's basically in my initial career, I was working in a full stack, but later I switched to front-end engineer and working on a React framework.
Got it. Sure. So Faizan, like let's start with one of the most common interview question. Okay. I'm presenting a whiteboard now. Okay. Whiteboard. One of the most common interview question in the system design recently is not recently, it's been quite some time, is the newsfeed app. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm just drawing on the screen. Okay.
Hmm.
Hope you're able to see, right?
Yes.
So let's say this is a typical Facebook app, let us imagine. Okay. And we
Okay.
have we'll have multiple posts here, correct? Like for
Hmm.
example, post 1, post 2, okay, followed by the remaining posts, correct?
Hmm.
And on the top, we will have an option to create post, correct? So here you will have an
Okay.
option where you could create post, correct?
Hmm.
Create post, and this is post 1, post 2.
Post.
Basically, this post 1, post 2 can be of anything. Like it could be of text, it could be of image, it could be of something with
Hmm.
video. All the things are a possibility, if it's correct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now my question would be, well, let's start with one of the most common interview question around this. That is infinite scrolling, correct? So right
Hmm.
now you're able to see 2 cards, correct? And whenever you're scrolling up, correct?
Hmm.
So what happen is you will have more cards.
Yes.
B and control B if I do. After you scroll, probably you will have this as post 3, correct? This will become post 3.
Okay.
This will become post 4.
Post 4.
Yeah, correct. I can make I can add an arrow here.
Hmm.
I can make an arrow here and I can name it as after scrolling. Correct?
After.
For users, if I can make it little users have to see. I think like this. I think users can see this is the um, initial render. Initial render. Uh, initial render. Okay. Initial render. Okay. And this is more like after user scroll. Okay.
Okay.
After user scroll. Please tell me if you have to implement the infinite scrolling,
Hmm.
Faizan, what are all things comes to your mind? You can start explaining step by step, and if you have to implement this, how you are going to do. Let's for the example say consider an example of Facebook one. Like we are building system similar to
Okay.
Facebook.
Hmm.
Please start.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the header part, so create post button is fixed one. So I'll choose a sticky button. So if
Ah,
we scroll it, it should not
hmm,
be out of the window or
correct.
out of the viewport.
Yeah.
So then what I'll think according to my user base and user experience, we will fetch suppose if two post is in the viewport and we decided to put two posts in the viewport, so I'll check the viewport height and according to it I'll fetch two extra posts for the initial rendering.
Hmm.
After, if we will check the fourth post is getting into the picture in the viewport, then I'll fetch the next two posts and append it to my data.
Okay.
So I'll use this approach.
So yeah, whatever you told, correct, Faizan. So basically, infinite scrolling, the whole point of infinite scrolling is how you're gonna basically track the end of the page reached, and even before the end of page reached, or sometimes when the end of page reached, you're gonna get next set of data and show it on the screen. Correct?
Hmm.
Can you start
Hmm.
answering me like how basically you're gonna determine whether the end of page reached or not?
Okay. So we can use viewport for it.
Okay.
We can check if scroll is the window is in the post 4 is in viewport.
Hmm.
I don't remember the exact uh,
Okay.
field, like I have not implemented it,
Hmm.
the infinite. But we can check viewport size and all those things, and
Sure.
there may be some.
Okay. So you're somehow you're gonna identify the end of page
Hmm,
reached.
end of
So
page reach.
yeah, and you're gonna make an API call to get next set of data. Correct,
Hmm,
Faizan?
yes,
That sounds
exactly.
good. So now there is another problem. As you know, the one of the
Hmm,
biggest problem in pagination is you should keep getting the data from the server. Correct?
hmm, okay.
So are you aware of like different pagination techniques, Faizan, that is used from the backend or in general? What are the different pagination techniques that are available?
So one which I followed is like limit and page number, which we use to fetch the data.
Okay. Please explain how you're
Exactly.
gonna what data client pass, what data we get from server. Can you elaborate?
Yes. In that technique, like we pass two parameters in the URL for a get endpoint. One is limit and one is page.
Hmm.
We will check the limit, what amount of data we are fetching for a single time when a API is calling, and
Hmm.
what sequence. Suppose I am fetching two posts at a time,
Hmm.
and I need the post number 5 and 6. So I'll do a page 3, and limit will be the same too. So I
Hmm.
can vary limit and post. I can also check if the scroll speed, and I can increase the limit in that case as well. So,
So basically, you are going to pass the number of posts required and the page number.
and
Correct? Like for
yes,
example,
exactly.
initially, let's say page 1 and 10. So you're going to get around
Hmm.
10. Then you're going to set
10.
like 10 is more like fixed letters,
Hmm.
hypothetically
Hmm.
imagine, and second page and the
Hmm.
again 10 posts. Correct? 11 to 20 you'll be
Exactly.
getting. Correct?
Yes.
There is only this could be the last question, then we'll go to other problems. See, one of the biggest problem that I can think of this approach, Faizan, is systems like Facebook, right? They are like
Hmm.
very dynamic sort of a data comes. Like for example, by the time
Hmm.
you scrolled, probably there's so much of data that has come already. For the
Hmm.
simplicity of you and audience, I'm saying, let's say there is 100 data
Hmm.
on the backend.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you requested
Yes.
for 1 to 10 in the beginning rendering.
Hmm.
Correct?
Hmm.
You got the data and you rendered it. By the time
Hmm.
user hit the end of the page, obviously there is more data might have come. So where
Huh.
let's say more for simplicity understanding, let's say more 10 data has come, more 10 posts.
Hmm.
So 100, whatever the earlier database size, it became 110 now.
Hmm.
Correct? Obviously, the new data will not be added to the end of the database. It will be added in the beginning only because that's the whole
Hmm.
intent. Fresh post has to be shown.
Hmm.
So now what would happen is we had 1 to 100. So 1 to 10 was already came to client. Now that 1
Okay.
to 10 became 11 to 20 and new 1 to
Okay.
10 has come. Correct?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
next time now what you would do, you would send a request to server where you are sending like page 2 where you're getting 11 to 20 is something that server should send. But what has happened now? 11 to 20 is same as 1 to 10. You got my point, right?
Exactly. Hmm.
So this is the problem with this approach. I am assuming audience got the problem where the window has
Hmm.
slided. 1 to 10 became 11 to 10, new 1 to 10 has come, correct? Only
Exactly. Hmm.
just think, is there any way you can answer to this first? And if this, how to overcome this problem? Have any idea?
Uh, as time of pagination as well, we can take sort the data or something to new to old,
Sure,
so we can tackle those problems
sure,
maybe.
sure, sure, Faizan. One approach is what you told is or similar to that. Basically, client takes care of
Hmm.
filtering. Like let's say every
Hmm.
time when you got a data, you check whether the data already exists or not. This can be
Hmm.
easily achieved if you are maintaining a map of like post ID and
Hmm.
actual post content. We can usually check whether that post data is already present or not. And if it is already present, make a next request.
Hmm.
Okay. But the problem is how long to keep doing this. This becomes recursion.
Exactly.
Like I gave you a simple example where 1 to 10
Hmm.
became 11 to 20. It not necessarily be like that. Correct? It might
Exactly.
have like
Exactly.
by the time you make level, you decide to make next call. next call also the data might have slided. You're getting what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you sent 2, it became
Understood.
3, but 11 to 20 might have become 21 to 30, so you might end up getting same result. Correct?
Yeah,
Again, there's no right or wrong implementation, depends on the system we are building. But
system.
read more, you and the audience read more about this. There is 2 types of pagination mainly, the cursor based and the offset based. So right now, whatever we discuss is offset-based approach. There is another thing called cursor-based approach. Okay, please, you and the audience, if anybody in the audience know, please mention what is cursor-based approach. Okay, so Faizan, and now let us start with some very basic theory questions I'll ask you, and then we'll go to the some coding things. Okay. Um, so can you present your screen, Faizan, with Code Sandbox open?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. I'm
Yes.
assuming you already signed in, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Please explain me, Faizan, what are fragments in JSX or fragments in React in general?
Okay. So the React, there is a big challenge. Like when we want to wrap a component with some uh, extra things. Suppose we need to write a box, and we don't want to use a nested divs and all, so the DOM will not become a heavy. So we use the fragment. Fragment is a empty wrapper. It's kind of empty wrapper, which can be used in React to used in virtual DOM. So it
Okay.
will not be appended in the real DOM. So
Yeah.
we call it fragment. It is a
Sure.
feature of React.
Can you give a
So we
simple
can
example?
use the
You can give a simple
yeah we
example, Faizan. When do you use fragment?
yeah. So if you want to append something like this is a project. I don't want this div to
Okay.
be presented on the DOM. So I
Okay.
just need we can use this empty fragment in that case,
Okay.
or we can import the fragment from
Hmm.
React.
Correct.
Yes. So these
See,
are the two ways
I
we
get
can
what you're
use
saying,
them.
but I think the simplest answer is a group of tag cannot exist by themselves. They has to be enclosed by something.
Hmm.
That's the
Something
basic rule of the
exactly.
tag, correct?
Hmm.
Like you have H1P and any other list tags, so they cannot be represented just like that. Where it should be enclosed in something.
Anything.
So either you could enclose them in div, or either you could
Hmm.
enclose them in fragment, correct? Or either you
Correct.
could enclose them in like empty thing you added, empty and the empty opening and empty closing brackets.
Hmm.
Three
Hmm.
possibilities, Faizan, correct?
Yes.
So now, can you tell me the difference, Faizan? Just using the fragment and no fragment, just opening and closing. What is the difference?
So the main problem I face, like in my day-to-day development, like we cannot pass key to an empty
Correct.
fragment, but we
Mhm.
can pass the key to this
Correct.
fragment.
Why do you think you need to pass a key? What is the need for that?
When we need to append a array of a data or an object, we need to pass a key to every element we are mapping.
Okay. And what is the problem using the div versus fragment? What is the difference or putting other a fragment, enclosing within a fragment and enclosing within a
Hmm.
div? What is the difference?
So suppose if a styling is given to a parent child, it will not, if we enclose it with a div, it will not be implemented to a child tags. But if you use fragment, the parent div, if you will give the styling, so it will be reflected to
Sure.
the
Any other
child.
difference that comes to your mind, present?
The DOM become heavy, like if we use multiple divs, we are some of the divs are not used even to
Hmm.
any container or something. So but
Got
if
it.
you use fragment, we can use it.
Got it. So fragment, you say lightweight compared to div, and
Like
as we feel like div is not at all necessary. It is just an encoding
necessary.
requirement. As div is something a meaningful tag, a division basically.
Hmm.
Okay.
Ex-
We don't want that. That time we could use the fragments. Okay.
hmm.
Sure. So, you want to say anything, present or?
And
Sure, sure. So now probably we can get started with the problem, but just before that, I have only one question. What are children prop in React? Can you please explain, Faizan? Children prop.
okay. So suppose in a component, let's should I show you an example as well?
No, I think roughly you can explain. If I needed, I'll
Okay.
ask you.
So if we are children is a inbuilt prop in JavaScript. So suppose if we are creating a component, suppose we are creating a button component to reuse it everywhere. So if we wrap that component, so for if suppose this is a component we created for React, So inside all the code inside that component will be passed to its children prop. So we can access those children prop inside that component.
Okay, let's say you want to render the children. So everything that is inside that particular component can be used, correct?
Yes.
Can you give me one practical example of Python wherever you felt like you use this? When is the right scenario to use a children prop?
So one example I already gave, like when we create a button component, there we used multiple times, like children prop. Suppose I created a component called app button, so I can reuse that component, and the text inside it I can pass it as a children. So I'll track those children and I can pass a empty button. Like I can use the button tag inside my component and pass it inside that children inside the curly bracket. I can use the children prop and append the text.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I've sent a question to you in the chat section now, Faizan. You have around 15 to
Hmm.
20 minutes to solve the problem. Copy the question,
Okay.
paste on the here on the editor, and you can maybe zoom in this for a while, a little bit, so that audience can see it better. If any question regarding the problem, you can ask me. Otherwise, you have to get started. Yeah.
So search filter, display a list of posts, implement a search bar and filter the list based on user input get. Okay. Okay, here I need to implement display a list of posts using this
Correct.
API.
Correct.
Okay, and I'll use us and need to implement a search bar.
Correct.
If a search bar is mentioned, we need to uh, search the whatever we search. According to it, we need
Correct.
to append the post.
Correct. Can you open that
Get it?
URL once? The JSON placeholder URL. Can you open
Mm.
it? Yeah. So here, let us search by the title. Okay.
Okay.
As I think that is little lesser length. So let's say in the first case,
Hmm.
I search SUNT, and let's,
Okay.
for the simplicity's sake, let's imagine any title that starts with SUNT should show.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay. So
Any
let me
title that
just check
starts,
the query.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. No, they're not going to give that. They're only giving that post. I don't, okay, you can check if they're giving.
Okay.
Otherwise, filtering is something that you need to do, not on the API.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
have the
I
data.
need to implement the filter.
Whenever you do the search, it's more like not like search, it's more like local search, not like the global like
Hmm.
search.
Hmm.
In the
Hmm.
data that you already got, perform a search. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
sure. Get started, Faizan.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll create a post state
Okay.
so that I can store the states. I can store the data in a
Hmm.
state.
Hmm.
So I'll use the use state to
Okay.
store the state.
Hmm.
And for initial, I'll use the empty state.
Good.
So I'll create a function uh, to get the state. I think I'll be needing a Axios. I can use it to fetch the data.
Hmm.
Axios is a API client we
Hmm.
can use. So I'll use Axios to get. I'll use the async function to
Correct.
be it more clear. Like
Hmm.
I find it more clear. I'll fetch the data. Response. So I'll use async await. And let me first console this.
Yeah.
I believe we should get inside the response.data. So set posts. I'll use and I'll try map the post. Function which will turn and h3 with post dot type. Okay, post is okay. Sorry, it's post, and here I'll do is and here I'll give a key is post. Yes. Okay. But my post is not visible yet, so let me check update. I post. Okay. Use in the use effect, I'll call the get data function so that if when my component get mounts, the get post will call and data will be stored in this. So I have not imported the Axios. Mm, okay. So currently I am getting all the data. I prefer to. Okay. So we need to create a search bar.
Correct.
Okay. Will be a type of text, and I'll create the another state with input set input with an empty string.
I think that input spelling mistake. Yeah. Input.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll give a value to it as input.
Yeah.
And if on change event, I'll call it as e and set input. I'll set e dot target dot value. So this is a control component now. Okay.
Maybe styling we'll check later. Okay. Basic one you give. Next we'll check the styling later. Yeah.
Yes. So suppose this is working fine as of now. So I'll do one more thing, like I'll write a use effect where I'll give a dependency as input. So whenever input will render, so it will change. So my this use effect will be called. So and now I'll check if input is suppose let I need to do the filtering in filter logic as well. Like if suppose I'll create a function. So every time this will call, I'll do a filter data and I'll write another state query data. So this query data I'll use to pass. Suppose uh, if the input box is empty, so I'll try to get the filter from all the posts. Suppose if I'll search for SUNT, so it will all posts will be stored there, and I'll show the filter state here only.
Okay.
So I'll pass it here for now. So for the initial rendering, like and let's suppose data, if post is also changing, and if input is empty, it is a falsy value. So I'll set query data as post. So I'll show all the data if input is empty.
Good.
Suppose I'll get I'll get
I get it. Basically,
something in the input.
first
Yeah.
time when it is
So I
empty, we are going to return all, or next.
return all the things. Yeah. Filtered data. Now I'm gonna filter it. So I'll filter from the post so that I'll get the filter from all the posts. So I'll filter it post dot filter, and I'll check with the post, and if post dot title begin with like post dot title will be a string, so I'll use include. I can use so I need to return all the things, or it will only start. Suppose
All
SUNT is
title
in the
that
between.
begins with SUNT. So all the strings that begin with the given search string that you return complete title.
Okay. Begins with. Okay. That may be a starts with. I'm not sure. Let me check. Okay, start with, we have a function. Start with. Starts with. Okay. We have a function called starts with. I'll use it as an input. If so this will give me a filtered data, so I'll put set in set query data as filtered data. Filtered data. Yes.
Your last 3 to 4 minutes, okay? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now if I'll check with this is SUNT. So
Good.
I'm getting this, but I'm not sure why I'm getting this as well.
Try EXE also. Let's see. EXE. It's not coming, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I need to figure it out. Like, is this working correctly? Okay, post dot title. We have a post dot title. S. Okay. SUNT is working fine. QUI is working fine.
I think that's a
Now the
completely
things.
one string. I think this is completely one
Okay,
string.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Maybe
Correct.
this is
It's correct.
if it looks.
Yeah. You could try.
It will be better if I can.
Yeah, good. Padding. Yeah.
UI. And here I can get that. Okay, I'm not getting the bullets due to tailwind. Okay.
Anyway, I think that is fine. Most of the things are working as expected. Correct? Looks like it's fine.
Okay. Sure.
Anything else you want to make change, Faizan, or we can discuss?
Yeah, I'm
Sure. So
yes.
can you just zoom out the right side portion a bit? I mean, like the minimize the post this side, huh? I mean, except the code, minimize everything so that audience can also look at the complete code once. Okay. Sure. Can you zoom in again? Maybe Control plus, Command plus. So basically, I'll just quickly summarize, Faisal. What we are trying to do here is we have two functions. One is get post and another is filter data. So get post is where we make an API call to get the data. Filter data is where actually we are filtering the data to match whatever the user has searched. Are we matching with that or not? Correct?
Exactly.
We have two use
Yes.
effect we have used. One for, can you scroll down? Yeah. So
Yes.
one for like filter the data, another one is for the getting the post. First, anyhow, line number
Exactly.
37 gets triggered where we get the post. And we are line number 33 that every time whenever the input, whatever you're typing is changed, or every time whenever the posts are changed, basically only the first time the post would change, we are calling the
Yes.
filter data. Finally, whatever we are rendering on the UI is the filter data. Right?
Filter.
That's what we are rendering on
Exactly.
the page.
Yes.
So now where do you think actually the posts are getting used? Only in line number 25 for filtering purpose. Correct? The posts are used only.
Yes. Exactly.
Got it. Sure. Sure. So we'll discuss Faizan this and the overall about what are all how the things went well. See, regarding this, Faizan, the very clean implementation. I have so many mock interviews on my channel. This is one of the cleanest mock machine coding round. I know the question is fairly easy. It's not, I'm not saying it's very
Yes.
hard, but still the approach you took step by step, you're able to do, which is very clean and neat, which is kudos to you. Okay. Few
Mm.
things as I, as an interviewer, see that could have
Mm.
been improved was one is the API call, correct?
Okay.
If you go to the get post, can we go to get post, please? So here in line number 17 is, we are not handling any error here. The app can easily
Exactly.
crash, correct? If
Mm.
you're doing this. And another thing, one of the common mistake almost everybody does in the machine coding interview is like not asking the obvious question. See, I shared you an API and there is some X number
Mm.
of data and you started your implementation. Faisal.
Exactly.
What if that API tomorrow returns 1 million data? Getting my
Okay.
point, right? Then
Mm.
the filter who
Mm.
filters efficiency will be totally degraded, line number 25.
Mm.
Right? This is not a problem. This is just where probably in next interview, whenever some questions are asked, you can think
Mm.
around it. Correct? Because
Exactly.
always make sure you ask the extremities. What is an extremity? What is the
Mm.
minimum value? What is the maximum value in the interview?
Next.
So that always you're gonna be safe. Correct? Otherwise,
Exactly.
there can be chance. Now, this is fine. It's a mock interview. When interviewer asks like 1 million data is there, then the filter would fail. Correct? It's not if
Mm.
it will fail, the performance is obviously will get reduced.
Exactly.
Correct? Um, and another thing that I noticed, I think rest look good to me. It's a very clean approach, but only couple of suggestions that I give. You can stop sharing Faizan and
Mm.
I have like some couple of other feedback, not specifically on the problem solving around the basics. Like the couple of questions that I asked, like news feed, correct? Where we started with
Mm.
Facebook news feed. I'm not expecting a 2 year guy to like know all of it about the news feed.
Mm.
Like I always say in my mock interviews, like look at every system, like how do you develop it? Like just before we
Mm.
actually we drew the entire thing in there, that whiteboard or the drawing board, correct?
Mm.
So next time whenever you look at the drawing board, don't look at it like a user. Look at it like a developer. If you have to build the drawing board, how we are gonna do? Same applies with the Facebook newsfeed, right? That is the
Mm.
easiest way to start understanding the systems, like how you become this.
Mm.
So whatever answers you told was not fully correct or not even wrong. One approach you told, whatever you would build it, but I would highly suggest you and all the young developers that starting journey, 2 to 3 years of experience, to look at every system like how do you build it, so that whenever
Mm.
such question is asked in the interview, most likely you'll be able to answer. I'm sure most companies do not have system design for 2 to 3 year experience, but they would have some of a scenario driven question, like some portion of the system, just to how do you guess the output, Faizan. That's I think
Mm.
that's something that you could improve on. And regarding fragments and other things, what I feel one common thing around the theory questions is answers to many, you are able to give answers,
Mm.
but the initial answer that you are saying is not the answer. Eventually, you are coming to that answer. For example, fragments. What is the use
Mm.
of fragments? Basically, the list of tags has to be enclosed within something. So you're using the
Mm.
fragments, correct? So you told it
Okay.
actually, but you came there eventually, correct? You can
Mm.
tell that
Exactly.
to the point answer to you and the candidate also, because some interviewers are like have enough time to like discuss and extract the answer. Some
Mm.
interview will be in rush where they'll not have time to like extract answers out of your sentences, Faizan. Okay.
Exactly. Mm.
That's all I wanted to say. If you have any questions, you can ask me, Faizan, or you can share your interview experience also.
Yeah, so it was a nice experience for me. Like, I have been interviewing after a very long time.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
uh, it it is a great experience. And the questions I didn't expect it, like these type of questions. I didn't watch a lot of video of yours. I have
Good.
watched some of them.
Good.
So, uh, it met with my expectations. So I
Good.
got a very good feedback. I got
Yeah.
a very good questions.
Yeah.
And this will help me to like improve and how I can structure my answers and all those things.
Thank you so much, Faizan. I hope like all the audience who watch the video, like how Faizan told. If you like the video, please like the video, comment whatever you felt honestly. Please share the video with your friends so that they can also get benefited. That's all for this video. See you in the next.